around this and other major political developments in the country, we're now being joined here by Ismaila Issa Funtua, a politician, businessman, and key leader of thought in the northern part of Nigeria. Alhaji Issa Funtua is also seen as a close confidant of President Muhammadu Buhari. Welcome to the program, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good to have you on the morning show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for honoring our invitation.
I believe my understanding with you guys is not, that your statement, because I will start by repeating your statement. When you say compromise, the election was compromised. Compromised by who?
A good question, sir.
Yes, but let's start on a historical note. As publisher of the Democrat, and later as patron of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, your newspaper, during the struggle for Nigeria's return to civilian rule, was a thorn in the flesh of the military authorities. And you also supported the June 12th process. Now, when you look back, since that time, we survived the military government, then we returned to a democratic rule in 1999. Do you think we have fared well? And if we haven't done well with the return to civilian rule, do you think the struggle was worth it? At a time, I think they even tried to assassinate you for the support you were giving the pro-democracy process. When you look back now, do you think, it's worth it?
It's worth it. I give you a very short answer. It's worth it.
But I will have loved you to do an assessment of our experience since the return to civilian rule.
When you talk of assessment, there is no way. If I may recall the statement of one of our elders, late Obafemi Awolowo, who claimed that the worst civilian government is better than the best military government. That one is enough. It's true. Nothing beats democracy. In a civilian democracy, you could only be taken to court. In military, nobody is talking of court. They talk of decree. They detain you indefinitely. There is no select decree there. And unfortunately, in this country, many people are making statements, particularly now, the so-called online media. People will sit down and write things. Before you say Jack Robinson, it is all over the world. You cannot trace the writer. Recently there was a guy that was arrested, Shori. Myself, Induka, and Uncle Samamuka, being that Shori is one of us in the media, we went to visit him. The same online nonsense, excuse my language, where maligning us saying that we were sent there by government, blah, 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 blah. Which government? To go and say what to him? Are we working for government? Are we the type that could be compromised no matter how close we are to anybody? And what he did has absolutely nothing to do with media. Has nothing to do with media. But because he's one of us, we cannot leave him. He was surprised to see us. He wrote an article maligning me. He wrote an article maligning Induka. He wrote an article maligning Uncle Samamuka. All of us who were indicted by him one way or the other previously. But that do not mean we should abandon him. But the online media came out and the whole world were fed with, that rubbish that, we were sent there with, by government. Does government need to send anybody to talk to him? He's under the custody of security agencies. And do you know what they are? And do you know what they could do? Ruben.
Thank you, sir. We wanted to talk to you about your prognosis for our economy, but before we go there, I want to take you back to your comments, the intro written by our producer, and also link it to the New Year's message. presented by President Buhari and talk about his legacy. He gave us a little hint in that message of what he's thinking of his legacy and what it could be, and that's regarding the electoral process and strengthening it, just not in Nigeria, but within the ECOWAS region. How do we go about doing that? Our previous guest, Mr. Eniola Bello, and Dr. Abati and I were discussing this imbroglio in Kwara State and the behavior of our political elite. The security agencies have their challenges. INEC has its challenges. They all have their limitations. But a lot of people place blame at the feet of our political class and their behavior, this kind of smash and grab sort of ruthlessness in which they engage the political process. How do we go about changing that, and what is the president's role in this?
This is a tough one. If you take the political class, always I'm surprised they never learn their lesson. I was a minister in the regime which was toppled in 1983 by the military. Quote and unquote, they claim because of the excesses, of the politicians. I was thinking the present crop of politicians should learn from there. But they learn nothing, and they forget nothing. And I cannot discuss the legacy of President Buhari because, he had just started less than 4 months in his second tenure. So we have to wait and see. The historians like Dr. Abati, they will actually, that time, find out that whether, yes, he's leaving a legacy, a good one, or he's leaving a legacy halfway, or he's leaving no legacy. It's too early to say now. The only thing is good to be reminding him always, his second tenure is for legacy. First tenure is to work, convince people to accept him, to accept what he is doing for the country. This is the way I look at it.
Well, still on the New Year message that Tundun referred to, the president devoted a substantial part of that message to his government's commitment to work on infrastructure, to address the infrastructure deficit in the country. He even cited specific examples in the last paragraph. But the concern of many Nigerians is that if you look at the budget, the traditional thing is that there's so much on the recurrent side, or in terms of recurrent expenditure. We don't have enough money for capital expenditure. We have so much devoted, over 24% devoted to debt service. So where would the money come from? The government is proposing to borrow $39.96 billion. And many Nigerians are kicking that, look, we shouldn't borrow. If we must do infrastructure, look for more creative ways instead of increasing the debt burden. What's your take on this issue about capital expenditure and debt service?
Dr. Abati, when people are saying creative way to get money from where? To print money, and then our currency will become like Zimbabwe? That's number one. Alternatively, you and me and others, we do not want to pay tax. Nigerians do not want to pay tax. And money could only come anywhere in the world for government from taxes. We do not pay tax in this country. I give you an example. One, the civil service. To me, I was once a civil servant. Is over-bloated. There are too many. Every boy, every girl, after finishing university or polytechnic or whatever, instead of trying to create something to do, everybody is looking for a job from the government organization. How many people can government absorb? Right now, the way I look at it, as I said earlier, the number of civil servants are too many. Why should we be spending over 70%, 75 to 80% of our national budget or recurrent expenditure. To a large extent, recurrent expenditure, part of it is a wastage. The money is being stolen, wasted and stolen. And as such, I do not in any way believe government should borrow money to do capital expenditure that would not bring the money back. Yes, government should borrow, do capital expenditure like road. You and I and anybody following the road should pay. People should pay. This idea of common man, I do not buy it. Why I say people should pay? The most advanced country, go to United States, don't you pay toll? You pay toll. Why are we not paying toll here? We were paying, courtesy of one man, the whole toll was abolished. Even the toll gates, instead of leaving them in case any incoming government one day decided to bring the toll, already have the toll gate, was demolished. How many billion was spent to demolish them? And some of us, we know the toll was suspended or abolished, rather, because of one man, because the person who did the action, he knows what he did.
No, the excuse at the time was that there was a 5% fuel tax, and it will amount to over-taxation.
It's not true. It's not true. Because of one person has a toll gate, and the person who abolishes that, he knows he cannot touch that on travel basis and other basis. So the whole thing, let everything be abolished.
Sir, does your view that the common man can and should pay for services extend to removal of fuel subsidy?
This is a very good question.
Thank you, sir.
Fuel subsidy is being misunderstood by the authorities in this country. Every truck you see on the road in Nigeria, every bus you see in Nigeria, agricultural equipment, construction equipment, generators, and many others are using diesel. And there is no subsidy on diesel. What a common man needs, he needs kerosene for cooking. There is no subsidy on kerosene. Why should the government be spending about 70 billion every month to subsidize people like you and me who are using cars, 2-3 cars or more in their house, in our houses, and under the cover of common man?
We'll need to take a short break at this point. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation on whether or not fuel subsidy regime in Nigeria is sustainable. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News Channel. Still with us in our studio in Lagos is Alhaji Ismaila Isa Funtua, publisher of the Democrat newspapers in Kaduna, life patron of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, a businessman as well. Well, before we went on break, you were talking about subsidy, the subsidy regime. And you were saying that it's subsidy for the rich, that is the rich that enjoy it. But the popular opinion is that if we remove subsidy, prices of everything will go up. The poor man, the common man, who claims he's not getting enough will be the victim.
Yeah, because we have no discipline in this country. Because if we have discipline, you have to understand and look at it, even at government. The people who are in the government, are they not Nigerians? They were born and raised in this country, and they are still living here. They know what is happening. Earlier, when I mentioned the things that are using diesel, not PMS, how many transporters are using petrol? Those transporters, largely, they are using diesel. Diesel have no subsidy. Kerosene have no subsidy. Why PMS? That is my question. I live with the people. I live with the downtrodden. I know what is happening in this country. Subsidizing fuel, it's just subsidizing people like you and me, and also subsidizing criminals who are taking it out of the country to go and make more money. Why should the country be bleeding itself in order to enrich very few?
So, sir, you're in support of the border closure?
No, that's a different matter. We are talking of subsidy. Closure of border is failure of the custom. If it is in a civilized society, what the leadership of the custom is supposed to do? You know it, I know it. Because if I'm overseeing something, and then you have to come and close the border because of our inefficiency, what am I supposed to do?
But one of the consequences of border closure was that it curtailed the activities of the criminals you referred to who are smuggling our PMS across the border.
It has come down, but it was not eliminated completely.
No.
It has come down. The same criminal element in the custom that are colluding with the smugglers, still they are doing it in a lower scale. So what do you do?
One of the issues referred to in the President's New Year message has to do with the state of our ports. And we have a very serious problem with the ports, either in terms of the operational procedures or even in terms of the turnaround time for evacuating goods from the ports. What, in your opinion, should the federal government do, particularly with the two ports in Lagos, Tinkan and Apapa?
Well, I think that one is a double-edged sword there. To go to Tinkan or to go to Apapa with a truck to convey your goods when you order. We all know what is happening. They keep on talking, or the media keep on talking, gridlock, gridlock. It's part of what I said earlier, lack of discipline. We have no discipline. Where today, government will say this is what will be done, and a union will get up and say we do not agree. And then they blocked, all the roads. If we wanted to be fair to ourselves, there's a need for a port outside Lagos. Even the port in Lagos could be sanitized. People should pay for the services being rendered, which we are not paying. We want everything for free in this country, unless it has become absolutely obvious we are not getting it for free. That is the issue. And I do not know now the method of clearing goods, because when we order things, it is being brought to our yard. When it arrives, all this story of, clearing in one day and so on and so forth, is all story. And to be honest with you, Dr. Abati, I would like to see a situation whereby we try to have a little bit more discipline in this country. Discipline is the key of everything. If we have no discipline, no matter what government tries to do, they cannot do it. They will start within a week, they will start sabotaging it, or we will start sabotaging it, and it will become useless.
That's absolutely correct, sir. But then how do we start to correct some of these values and attitudes that have started to eat into our society like a cancer? This lack of discipline, for instance, how does one begin to correct that in Nigeria?
It will be a painful process. Government must be willing to accept the blame. Certain things we are not doing, that it must be forced on us like school children. And if the law enforcement agencies are willing to do their work, a lot of things could change in this country. Like I was seeing the road marshal was talking to a group of people, I think it's media, whereby from this January, if you beat traffic light in Abuja, you are going to pay, if you are arrested, you are going to pay, I think, 50,000. So if you are going to pay 50,000, for sure, you know, policeman would not take 5,000 from you. You must give him maybe 10,000 and above. And those people who are doing kabu-kabu and what have you in the city, how much are they making? And if they know they cross traffic light, they are arrested and they pay the fine of 50,000. You think they will do it tomorrow? The answer is no, they will not do it. Are they willing to pay 10,000 to the police because he knows they are paying 50,000? He will not take 1,000 to 5,000 from you. If the law enforcement agencies are willing to do their work, because the law before now was 4,000. 4,000. And now they jack it up to 50,000. For me, they should jack it up to more than that, because I have not seen capital of a city where people do not stop in traffic light. Are the traffic lights there for joke or for show?
So you're talking about stricter penalties and stricter enforcement?
Absolutely, madam.
Talking about discipline and all of these other issues, I mean, let's talk about the media industry a little bit. Do you agree with the view that there isn't enough scope for media freedom under the present administration? And if so, what's your take on the proposed hate speech bill and also the social media bill?
To be very honest with you, I did not read the bill. But what I will say about relationship of government and media in this country, I would like to believe, strictly speaking, the relationship is good. Why? There is no single media man that has been arrested and detained by this government since the inception of Buhari administration. They do it, we are there in Abuja, we will not leave them, we'll go to them and ask them why. And they are not doing it. That's why when we started this program, I mentioned the guy that was arrested, his crime has absolutely, you all know, have nothing to do with media work. It's a different, chapter altogether. So I wouldn't want to comment on something that I did not read. Hate speech, so much has been said about it, but I would like to believe killing people because of hate speech is not the answer. It's too stringent. The fine and the imprisonment should have been better. Very strict, term of imprisonment and fine or both.
But the situation with the federal government, like you've said, is that there's no journalists being held in detention, but state governments cannot make the same boast because you have the governors of Kaduna State, Bayelsa State, Cross River State, and most recently even Asaba, the gentlemen in Asaba who were arrested for apparently exposing all corruption, and now they've been charged. So we do have that climate at the state level. Another climate that's unfortunately prevalent in Nigeria now is a vast division along ethnic and religious lines. Some people say that it hasn't been this bad since the Civil War. I'd like your take on that. And a lot of people blame the attitude or the perceived attitude of the northern political elite and their reluctance, let me put it that way, to hand over power to the southeast in 2023. What's your comment on that? Because I'm aware that you were a member of the Constitutional Assembly and you decided during that assembly that power should rotate between the north and the south.
Or maybe we should take a quick break or continue?
No, we're not going to a break.
Okay. Yes.
With due respect, you jumbled your question because you put about 3 issues, in one. This issue, not because I'm a northerner, anybody who knows me knows that, I'm not involved in such things. You are black, you are black, you are white, you are white. Whatever is your religion, wherever you come from, you are a Nigerian, you are a human being. You cross my way, I give you my peace of mind, I go my way. I do not care where you come from. The issue of state governments maltreating journalists, yes, I know it is taking place. But what are we running? Federal government have no right to interfere there. So it is up to us as media people to take on to the cleaners those state governors who are messing up with media. But the same state governors who are messing up with media, they will be corrupting our voice, they will be the one to be filing, stories always. We should black them out. And we should let them know we are blacking them out because of what they are doing to the media. You want to use me, and then you are disturbing me? Why? Allow me to do my constitutional job. I allow you to do your constitutional job. And there shall be more, or there should be more investigative journalism in this country. With due respect to newspapers in this country, they will write a very big story today, headline. They sell the papers. They will never follow it up. And when you ask, the same journalist who filed the story will tell you that he is not being financed to follow it up. Not that he was being, or he's being corrupted by the people giving him money to play down the article. No. That is the truth. And this issue of presidency 2023 to the southeast, since when politics had become Turn by Turn Nigeria Limited? I was the coordinator of the field campaign of the MPN in 1983. So I know Nigeria, I know politics. You choose your candidate who is able to bring votes for you to win election. Not on regional basis, not on tribal basis. And is he going to be a president of the north, of the east, of the southwest, of the south-south, or whatever? This is something that media should blame itself. Because media is in the forefront of promoting this thing, 2023, and Igbo man must be president of Nigeria. Who says? What part of the Nigerian constitution that has been said? You want to be in Nigeria, you want your son or your daughter to be president of Nigeria, join the party. Not only joining the party, bring the votes. Then you can show your hand.
Sir, can I just come in here? That clamour is not being created by the media. It's been reported by the media because the clamour exists amongst the people of the Southeast who feel marginalized.
I am not saying it was created by the media. I said it is being promoted by the media. The media should push it down.
But in 1999, after my dad was killed, we had 2 presidential candidates from Yoruba land to compensate for that. It was not a case of anybody, it's a free-for-all, whoever wants to contest. Certain political realities necessitate certain measures. The Igbos feel marginalized in Nigeria for the sake of inclusiveness.
In what way?
Well,
in what way?
Well, they think that they also deserve to be president of Nigeria.
Yes.
They deserve to be president of Nigeria. They should belong, my friend. If they do not join the party, they wanted to do things on their own because they are able just unite them president. Is the president, that's why I said, is it turn by turn Nigeria Limited?
Well, for fairness, for justice,
wait
for
a minute,
equity.
my friend. Which equity, which justice are you talking about? You are talking of politics. You are talking of politics, Dr. Rubin. Politics is issue of votes. My good friend of blessed memory, MKO Abiola. What happened? He defeated Bashir Topa in Kano. Is MKO Abiola from Kano? Is he? Answer me, any one of you.
no.
He is not, isn't it? But he defeated Bashir in his hometown, Kano. Why? Because the man played politics. He embraces everybody. He is moving with everybody. You send him invitation for anything. If he is not there, his representative will be there, and he will contribute to our own activities. He's a good politician. You cannot sit down because you are an Igbo man, you say, oh, there is no fairness, there is no equity. So are you going to be fair to me? Because I am not an Igbo man. If you are president, you will not be fair to me.
We're still talking politics because there's a lot of regional politics in Nigeria on the basis of geography. At a point, there was a very strong alliance between the North and the Southeast.
The North and?
The North and the Southeast.
Correct.
The eastern part of the country. Now, what happened to that old alliance? Because it looks like it has collapsed.
At least I know something about it. Because late Ekweme of blessed memory was my boss. We campaigned for him throughout this country. Nobody is going to hold you politically in this country like a newly born baby. With due respect to the Igbos, they fail to understand when the Southwest chose to be on their own. They want their region. They want to remain in opposition always. They see what happened to them. They did not go near the power. To a large extent, the North, in terms of religion and culture, they are closer to the Southwest than the Southeast. But Ekweme he contested again. He was defeated in the nomination by Chief Obasanjo. Why? I was at that constitutional conference together with my boss, Alex Ekweme. His attitude has changed. When we went to the constitutional conference, what happened? We want him to be leading us. We want to be holding some kind of caucus meeting in his house. He stepped back. He doesn't want to have anything. He has that bitterness because he believes the coup was staged so that he do not become president, which is, excuse my language, is nonsensical. myself and later Mari Shinkapi, we were the first Northerners to visit him after he had been released from detention. And I explained to him, because I asked him a direct question, whether he spoke with Shagari. He says no. I said, why? He was thinking that Shagari enjoyed in a house, he was kept in a house. Ekwemeshin, no. He was in prison, and all the political prisoners at that time, every morning they are with him in his room. Shagari was kept incommunicado. I know the house here in Lagos where he was kept, and I know the kind of treatment given to him. I think I might be the first civilian that went and saw him. I was given permission when he was released, when he was to be released. I went and saw him. When I saw him, I burst into tears. The condition he was living. So it's not issue of 2023, 2020, whatever, and Igbo must be president of Nigeria. You want to be president, belong. You don't want to belong, you will not be president. That is the issue. And we have seen it. Franchi Bamko Abiola, blessed memory. He went out of his way. He cultivated people, and he got the results. I thought they should learn from there. So you can be their consultant. You can tell them.
In the course of this interview, you've talked again and again about the role of the media. Will you, as life patron of the newspaper proprietors of Nigeria, like to see some form of media regulation? Because most people on the government side, they think that, the media should be regulated. It should be regulated. If it should be regulated, what form of regulation will you prefer? Self-regulation, perhaps?
That is number one. That's why we took the federal government to court, and I believe up to now the case is still there in court, because sometimes Lai Mohammed spoke to me that if NPAN can withdraw that case from the court, because we won in 2 courts, they still went on appeal. You have the press council, and we are supposed to have, I think, 2, I could not remember the composition, maybe 2 members in the press council. And self-regulation, we have gone out of our way to appoint an ombudsman. So, with the ombudsman there, if your paper writes anything against me, I will take it up with the ombudsman. Ombudsman will follow it up with the paper and make sure that justice has been done. The only thing many people do not know about the existence of that ombudsman, whereby they can go and ask for, for justice when injustice has been done to them. But self-regulation is the best, because the moment you allow governmental interference, they will mess you up.
I don't know whether I'm correct. Aji Alade Odunwewu was the ombudsman appointed by the NPAN at a point. Since his death, another ombudsman has not been announced. Why is that the case?
Well, that I could not say yes or no. I know that Alade was the past ombudsman because he knows media. You know that very well. And he's a fair-minded person. He will be fair to both sides. And I promise you, I will take it up with Induka. He is the president of the association. They should make sure that if another person had not been appointed, another person should be appointed.
Well, we still have a few minutes. I would like to ask you a personal question.
Please do.
One of the things that Nigerians have been talking about, and even right inside the villa, is that there is a cabal running the government of Nigeria by proxy. And I've read in 1 or 2 places where your name was mentioned as a member of the cabal. Is there a cabal? Are you, as alleged, a member of that cabal running Nigeria?
Well, when people are talking of cabal, Nigerian media, they choose, words and they use it anyhow loosely. I'm not a member of any cabal. I'm cabal myself.
How do you mean?
There is nothing like cabal, because to me it is an insult to President Buhari for anybody to say that he cannot run government until collection of people are running the government for him. And what is cabal? In short, I think it means kitchen cabinet. People that you trust, people that you believe they will not deceive you. They can do things in the interest of the country. But I don't believe there is anything, and people, Nigerians are using the word, in a derogatory, terms, not in the real meaning of it. Take dictionary, look at the meaning, what is cabal?
But the First Lady also alleged that cabal exists.
Oh, please let me hear a word. I beg you. Let's.
Well, while we have just a few seconds left, we have to at least touch on another huge issue in Nigeria today, which is insecurity. I'd like to take your thoughts on the government's efforts in that regard.
You see, people up here do not see insecurity in its real terms. But people who lived where there is the insecurity, they know there is insecurity, and they know what they are going through. And again, if you look at the situation, how many policemen do you have in this country?
350,000.
350,000 in a country of how many people in 774 local governments? Do we have enough policemen?
No, we certainly don't.
Because it's not only those who wear uniform should be police. Security and policing should be the work of every Nigerian.
Yes, thank you, sir. Well, on that note, we'll have to bring the conversation to a close. I hope when next we invite you, you will oblige us.